What are unhandled exceptions and how do I find them? In Java, unhandled exceptions refer to exceptions that occur during execution but are not caught by any try-catch block. When an exception is unhandled, it propagates up the call stack, and if it reaches the main method without being caught, it'll cause the process to terminate unexpectedly. This will impact both user experience and system stability and can cause application crashes and even a loss of work or data. One way we often see this manifest is with cryptic or technical error messages being displayed to the user. This is confusing to the user, and it ultimately will erode user trust and satisfaction with the system. There are some best practices for handling exceptions. The first is to use try-catch blocks wisely. Catch specific exceptions. Don't use a generic catch block. This will help in handling different types of exceptions appropriately. And keep the scope of the try blocks as small as possible. Only include the code that might throw exceptions. This reduces the risk of catching unintended exceptions that are better handled elsewhere. Also, handle exceptions at appropriate levels. Where possible, handle exceptions in the business logic layer. This will ensure that all critical messages are caught and managed before they affect the user or propagate out. But also catch and handle exceptions in the presentation of the controller layer so that users get meaningful feedback. This can often be done by using global exception handlers to manage exceptions that might not get caught at the lower levels. For instance, in Spring Boot, you can use the controller advice annotation for global exception handling. Also, you want to provide user-friendly messages. Showing user-friendly error messages helps users understand what went wrong, and if possible, provide what actions they can take to recover and try again. Avoid displaying technical details or stack traces directly to the users. Lastly, always validate input early. Validating input early in the controller layer will avoid exceptions that would need to be handled later in the business logic. Now, there are some tools and techniques that can be used to help identify unhandled exceptions. Most popular IDEs have either native support or support through extensions to detect and report on unhandled exception conditions. You should really enable and use these features. There are also many static code analysis tools that can detect and report on unhandled exceptions, including SonarQube, Find Bugs, Spot Bugs, CheckStyle, and many others. Lastly, writing effective unit tests is one of the best ways to identify scenarios that cause unhandled exceptions. Testing both the positive and the negative outcomes of your application functions will expose most issues. As always, to talk about this more or any other topic, reach out to Ask the Team at keyholesoftware.com.